Hello, and welcome to the Passion Witch Project. I'm your host, Emily Steckel, pharmacist, Reiki practitioner, and Passion Witch. And on this show, we chat with folks who are leaning into what makes them wonderfully weird and following their passion. And today, we are joined by one of my favorite human beings, Colleen Norris, owner of Colleen Norris Wellness. She is a network spinal chiropractor. That's a no-crack chiropractor. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I love being here and connecting with you and yeah,
We
so
just,
much fun.
I know, we get like giddy. I
Giddy,
feel like,
yes.
like, oh, it's so good.
It's like that schoolgirl energy of like, oh my God, I'm with my friend and she gets me and I can be myself with her.
Exactly. And like, I can do the witch fingers.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Before we dive into our topic, which is really exciting, we're going to talk about spells today. But do you have other things that you find that you do with your body? I know you're very in tune with your body. That just like when you do them, you're like, oh, that's the witch coming out. Or like the witchy energy.
I feel like sometimes there's like a shimmy.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yes.
Yes, the little shimmy.
Like a shimmy.
Sometimes I feel like I'll like wiggle my butt like
Yes.
my dog wagging her tail. I'm like, oh, there's just so much energy moving through me. I have to do something with it.
Exactly. Yes.
It's so fun. Yeah.
So fun. So fun.
So I think let's start by sharing with our viewers the impetus behind this episode.
Yes.
So you were brave enough to try something out with me that I was doing for the very first time. We sat in my office and we had what started as a conversation about love.
Yes.
About the kind of love that we are available for, that we're drawing in, and also, the things that we're not available for any longer.
Yes.
And there was a moment. Do you remember what that moment felt like?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It was a moment of like feeling deeply seen and witnessed. And at the same time, it was like, all I could say was, I feel like I'm casting a spell. Because I just kept, every time you would ask a question and then I would answer, it was like the words were coming and they had so much power behind them. And I was like, this is incredible.
And as a witness to it, like I saw it so vividly what you were describing for me. Because, the first part of our conversation was really, it was more, I think, exploratory. It was more like we were figuring out what it was, and then you shifted and you were saying what you wanted.
Yes.
It's like you were describing so clearly what you were manifesting.
Yes. You're right. It did kind of start off like that, kind of back and forth, and then there was something that happened inside of me. And I think it was just like in that cauldron, right? It was in the cauldron of you asking the questions you asked, your presence, my presence, and things that were coming through me. It was like all of that together just created this incredible magic.
Yeah. And so, so we had this moment, you're like, we're casting spells right now. And I was like, oh yeah. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
And so then the question I've been noodling around ever since is, what is a spell? Right?
Yes.
And I think that you would, if you asked 100 different people, you'd get 100 different answers, right?
Yes.
So I guess I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the definition.
Yeah, and I think I want to start with like what it's not.
Yes, I love that.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
let's start there.
And
yeah.
we had this conversation because it's like what it is not is it's not about making someone fall in love with me. It's not about manipulating someone. It's not about going above their choice at all. To me, a spell is about, it's like a very special word for my deepest desire in what I'm looking to create. In this case, obviously, like in regards to love, romance, the romantic relationship. But there's something about it that just feels, the word is like sacred.
Yeah.
Sacred. It feels so sacred to be, first of all, like, right? Because it's like desire is so sacred and it's so vulnerable.
Yes. Well, the word desire, do you know the root of the word desire? Desidera, Latin, of the stars.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the word
Okay.
itself, I think, speaks to this notion that we are born with desire. It's something that we come into this world within us. It's a gift from the stars.
I love that.
Right?
And that's what to me is like a spell, to me is like that's it feels like that, like feels sacred. It feels like I'm saying holy. I'm not in a religious way. I don't usually
Yeah.
say a word like holy,
Yeah,
but
but it's in that, yes,
yeah,
that
in that,
energy.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, I think, to be fair, right? I think the way that we both conceptualize spells is it's not something to control someone else. It's an expression. It's a way to bring that desire into the world, right?
Yes.
I do think that throughout history, spells have also been used to try to override someone else's free will,
Yes.
someone else's agency.
100%. Yes.
So I suppose, I think it's like electricity a little bit, right? Electricity itself is neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yep.
Electricity can be used to power the blender that's going to make our smoothie. Yay. I mean, it can also be used to like power the electric chair that's going to take someone's life from them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that a spell is a sort of, it's like a vehicle. It's like, it's almost like a container. But the container itself is neither good nor bad. It's sort of like, what is it housing?
How is it used?
How is it used?
Yes.
Right? Almost like you
Yes.
can think of it as like a bit of technology, a bit of coding.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because and I've heard magic described in kind of three ways, and again, like I like to think there are no rules in any of this except the ones that feel right for you, the ones that you choose to follow,
Yes.
the language that resonates with you. But sometimes I do come back to this idea of like black magic, gray magic, and white magic. Have you
Yeah.
heard those words before?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So black magic is that kind of like we're trying to overturn someone's free will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be like
Yes.
the love spell where it's like I want that particular person to fall in love with me.
Exactly. Which is not at all what we were doing.
No, exactly.
Yes.
It's more like what you were doing. It was this beautiful like I'm opening myself up for this kind of love.
Yes.
It's almost like a surrender rather than a control.
Absolutely. Because of the intention that it is coming from, which is it's not about having someone specific be this person. It's about putting that energy out there and seeing who is a match to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, so much of magic really is that release. Yeah, so
Right. And that is the deepest control. And the deepest level of surrender is like releasing that control of, and I know that as far as for me in my romantic relationships or around love in general, that is a growth edge for me.
oh, me too.
Right? To
Yes.
not try to control or not try to have a certain outcome materialize, but to be in the surrender, to be in the magic of it all and see who rises, who meets that energy and meets me and what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Because we know what happens when we aren't open that way, when we have a fixed idea
Exactly.
in our brain of what it is, right? Like immediately we're closed to something that could be way more an alignment for us, right? Like
100%. And I can't even tell you how many times that I've, in my brain, in Colleen's brain, it's like, oh, this person's checking this box and that box and this box. But then in reality, it's like there's some other big things that are not in alignment. And so
Yeah.
it is really being able to be in a place of like curiosity and exploration. And instead of trying to like, attach to something that you think is actually not even real.
Yeah. And that idea of real, right? Oh, tell me more what you mean about that word. Because yes.
Yes. So I know not everyone's into astrology, but for those of you who are, my natal Neptune is in my 5th house. So the 5th house is all about like romance, dating, stuff like that. So Neptune can be.
You know that? I love that.
Yes, Neptune can be like delusion, sometimes illusion kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, for
And
sure.
and that is what something that I have found in a pattern of mine of like I'll be quick to go into some kind of fantasy
Yeah.
about someone that's actually not grounded in reality. They're not, that's not actually how they're showing up. I've created something in my mind.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that that I have been working with myself of like, nope, we're going to stay right here in reality of like, how is this person truly showing up?
Yeah. And our brains are so good at storytelling, right? This is
So
why
good.
spell work works. Like, because you can give a little bit and our brain's going to fill in the rest of the details,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And so if your brain is trained to find, these like handful of attributes you're looking for in a partner, right? You're going to see that. And then in order to preserve that, it's going to fill in some other details that may be excluding facts, right?
Yes. And okay, so here's what I want to share
Yes,
about
please.
this.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So what was so powerful about the session we did together was that, because so many times like you hear people like write out your qualities, write out the things that you're looking for, things like that. But what was very different that happened in the session with you was that at the end, you guided me to this visualization where you weren't guiding me in like what was happening, but what ended up playing out in my mind was me connecting with my partner on the beach. We were dancing together and I had this felt sense of like this person's energy and how I feel in their energy. And I have used that so many times since is like, instead of the attributes and the qualities and the things we all write out, it's like, no, how do I feel?
Well, because one of the really cool things that was happening is you were describing how you were moving in that dynamic,
Yes.
right? It wasn't even so
Yes.
much about the person you were with in that moment. It was about you. What are you doing?
Yes. Yes.
What feels good for you to do?
Totally. And then in what I was doing, and then that person was meeting me there and how I felt in that place. And I can now, instead of going to my brain and going into some fantasy, I actually really don't do that anymore. I go right into what am I feeling when I'm in this person's energy?
Yeah. And this is such a beautiful, I think, next part of our conversation about spell work, because I think, we've started with this idea of language, right? Of words. And, maybe that includes rhyme, maybe that includes rhythm, it includes words probably very carefully chosen. But then there's the body.
Yes.
Right? A spell is the whole package,
Yes.
right? I like to think our lives are spells, right? But for the purpose of like doing magic or practicing witchcraft, we can kind of focus in on a moment. And this is where I think your work is so beautiful, because it is embodying those truths. It is feeling it.
100%. Because if it's just living in the mind and we're not involving the body in it, then we're missing a huge part of the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, in sessions that you have with clients, do those ever feel like spells?
Interesting. I have, it's interesting because I've never thought about that in
Yeah.
that way. But there does feel like, as you're sharing that, there does feel like there is something, and I'm going to obviously just relate it to the nervous system and the spine.
And really,
right?
that's what we're talking about, right? I do.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like what is coming through and expressing through your nervous system. And
Yes.
is that the spell that you want to be sending out? Is that the energy you want to be sending out into the world?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I absolutely I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we do work on the principle that our life is a spell, right? That the words that we're speaking at any moment,
Yes.
that the feeling that we're carrying in ourselves, that we're greeting others with, that we're interacting with nature with, right? All of that. It's manifesting our reality. At every
Absolutely.
moment, right?
100%. Yeah. Our choices, what we think, our beliefs, all of it are connected.
Yes. And so I think the lovely thing about intentional spell work is you can change the patterns in so many different ways,
Yes.
right? You can
Yes.
start with the body,
Yeah.
right? You can
Yeah.
have a session with Colleen,
Yes.
right? And start with like how energy is moving through your own being, which is
Yeah.
inevitably going to impact how you're moving energy around you.
Exactly. And that is, and like what I focus on with people is like that fight or flight energy, that sense of urgency, which is again the things that I've unwound, so much unwinding around that, in urgency and over efforting and over giving and over functioning and over responsibility and all of those things. Because if our nervous system is stuck in that fight or flight, like, and that's the energy we keep putting out there, then we're just going to be a match for someone who's going to be on the other side of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, you can also interrupt those patterns, right, with intentional words.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when you bring them together and then you layer in the five senses or, however many senses.
Exactly.
All the
Exactly.
senses.
All of them.
Right. Then
Yeah.
then we have, just we can think about it in terms of neuroscience. We have how many different pathways that we're providing our brain, our being opportunities for change.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
So
Yes.
I like to think if we start with language, because that's kind of my game. Being a former
Yeah.
English teacher and just lover of words and written spells. We have tools, right? We have linguistic tools. We have repetition. We have think about how Shakespeare used rhythm, right? Iambic pentameter. It's like a heartbeat through your words,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We have rhyme. How many of us had to memorize a poem when we were younger, and
Oh my
we still
gosh.
can because those rhymes are tenacious, right?
Yeah.
They're like lovely little earworms, or maybe not so lovely sometimes,
Right, exactly.
but they stick. Right?
Yes.
So we have these linguistic tools that help us to create new pathways. And again, like the words
Yes.
that we choose are so laden with meaning, right? And there are the collective meanings, but there are also the meanings that we've attached to specific words
Exactly.
over the course of our lives, our lived experience, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then, we have access, right? Think about scent. Think about how a scent can shift you.
Either way.
Either way.
For good or
oh my
for,
gosh.
yeah, or trigger.
I always like to ask, like, is there a scent that brings you, good or bad, I suppose, to a specific person or moment in your life where you're like, oh.
I think the thing that comes to mind right now is like the smell of cinnamon,
Yeah.
because growing up, my grandmother and I used to make snickerdoodle cookies. So it was like that scent is connected to so many great memories and a feeling of like love and comfort and connection.
It's so funny that you chose that one, because the scent that comes to mind for me is also connected to my maternal grandmother. Is yours your maternal
Paternal.
grandmother? So my maternal grandmother used to use Dove soap. And so when I remember being a little girl, I remember being like 3 years old and spending the night at her house and waking up and scurrying to her bedroom so I could crawl in bed with her, and she would, lift the blankets up, and I could just smell that Dove soap that was still kind of on her skin, and just like snuggle up with her.
Oh.
And it's now the scent. It's the soap that I use every day, and
Okay.
it's like this shield of love that I put on my skin. That was from her.
I love that.
Right, but like we all have these. I don't know if we want to call them allies or tools. We all have these relationships to scent.
Yes.
That we can use on purpose or work with on purpose.
Exactly.
Right? Just like with words. But yeah, that's true for sound.
So many things, right? Because if you think of like music too.
Absolutely.
Right? It's
think about how a minor chord makes you think and feel versus like a major chord, how that makes you think or feel.
Yes.
Right? how, how the music sound is transportive.
It is, and it's like I have heard so many people will say, if you like your first boyfriend or girlfriend you ever had, and you had like your song together, and then it could be like years or decades later, and you hear that song, and you could be brought back right to that moment with that person. So they have all of these things, like the sound and the smell have these, can leave these impressions in our nervous system that can bring us right back again, positive or not so positive.
Right.
But yeah, we can work with all of these different things.
Exactly. And if you're looking to like interrupt a pattern or make a shift in your life, in the life that you're manifesting every day, maybe there's music that you really like, but perhaps there's an opportunity for you to find something that allows you just to bring a different energy to your life. Right?
Yes.
I think we fall into comfort. We fall into reaching for the same thing, putting the same playlist on sometimes, but finding something else can help us step into a whole new facet of ourselves and make change elsewhere, if that's what we want.
I love that. Because, and I think that's a great thing to do when you are feeling maybe a little stuck, a little stagnant. Yeah. One of my go-tos is, especially if I'm feeling like anger or wanting to move like some deep rage, is Marilyn Manson, Tainted Love.
That's right. I love that. Oh, so good. So good.
It's just like, it's so visceral.
Yes.
It's like a primal, visceral energy that really gets activated, at least for me, and hearing that song and being able to move some really deep, heavy energy sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Because, we don't always know where we're stuck. But just manipulating something with intention, right? Maybe manipulate's the wrong word, but just changing something in our external world can really help us create a new pathway in our internal world.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's true for what we're seeing every day, right? Think about how we can make a shift, and you just had a move. Right? Think about what that allows for you, seeing new people, seeing new places, seeing just a change in your surroundings.
It's so right. So many things. It's like, because sometimes, like you're saying, we're going through the motions and we're used to the same things or whatever, but then it just opens up new energy, new doorways.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, we could definitely say the same thing for taste, right? I mean, they're fun. Yeah, how taste can be so transportive.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if you remember. Did you ever see the videos that I did when I was trying to learn how to cook and making food friends?
I don't think so. No.
I'm a 37-year-old woman, and I really don't know how to cook. And I'm just like, it is who I am. I've spent my time on other things. Anyway, but I started by just trying to learn one new food each week.
Okay.
And just like you give me a story about something and I'm hooked. So I started looking at stories associated with different foods, right?
Oh.
Like beets. I never liked beets, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to learn how to make friends with beets.
Okay.
It's just to me, they taste like dirt. But I was reading up, and so there's this lore attached to beets that Aphrodite used to eat a lot of beets, and they contributed to her beauty. And I was like, well, maybe it's worth it to eat a beet.
How did that go?
I ate a beet.
And it ended there.
But you know what? Now I'm not going to go out of my way to pick them out of something, right? I'll eat them. I'm just maybe still not going to seek them out.
Yeah.
But again, the foods that we choose, there's stories, there's consciousness, there are shifts possible in what we eat.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you were researching the story behind beets.
Another one. Okay, radishes. There was lore that men used to eat radishes to prevent their wives from gossiping about them. And I thought that was great. And I had a great uncle who would eat salted radishes as a snack. He had diabetes, so he didn't want to eat anything that was super heavy in carbs, so he would pop radishes. Gosh. I was like, I love that. Maybe he had ulterior motives.
Maybe, right? Subconsciously. He was like...
Enough of that gossip, ladies.
Oh, my God. I love it.
But yeah, I think, you know, and then so we have, you know, we can bring in the senses to our spell work. And then I think it's still that we need our body to be able to handle the change. Right?
100%.
And that, I think, is where your work is so important. Right? We can, you know, we pull in the mind, we pull in the senses, and then we make energetic room.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one because it's like, and I think what maybe a lot of people aren't aware of is that our identity is also in our body.
Oh, yeah.
It's like weaved in through our nervous system and our patterns and things like that. So sometimes that, at least in the work that I do with people, one of the biggest things I see people change is their identity of like how they show up in the world, who they believe themselves to be. All of that just radically shifts away from the masks and the things that they have done or put on because we think we need to do this to be loved, but then they come closer and closer and closer to who they truly are.
And I think what you're getting at also is this idea that all of this is bidirectional, right? Like there's wisdom in the body that then informs, you know, like what it is that we want. It's stored here. So as we develop that relationship with it, we can tune in more readily to that wisdom, to that innate desire, because I think it's here.
It's here, and I think that was what was one of the most powerful things about doing the session with you is that you were asking me things that I wasn't really asking myself. So it was like that inquiry, and then having that witness and having that person that you like, your presence and your like, what do I want to say, love and care in the way that you showed up. Just, I feel like it just like, my heart was just like, I'm just going to wide open here and just speak the things that I would have maybe not been able to speak on my own.
Because it did feel like it was all coming from within. It was all here.
Yes.
Yeah. So I suppose, you know, maybe the takeaway from all of this is that spell work, I think, is relational, right? It's choosing with intention, you know, having an intention.
Yes.
Choosing the ingredients, the sight, sound, smells, but then also leaving room to learn from the process itself. Right?
Yes.
I think, I
love that. Right? Because sometimes we actually need to go through the process to get clarity on, oh, maybe we thought we wanted this, but actually it's like a little bit more of this instead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we kicked off the inquiry, the fact that we allowed that curiosity.
Yes.
Well, now we're engaged in the process.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like the journey, right? It's just like going on this journey of not, you know, you have in mind, you have a destination, but you're, again, I think just like detached from exactly what that looks like in the real world.
Exactly.
And just kind of like, all right, we're going for a ride here. We're going on a journey. I don't really know exactly what we're going to face along the way, but like, I'm ready. Like I'm game.
That's it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way to close. Down for the ride.
For the ride. And it's like, and then when we have amazing people that are along for the ride with us, it just makes it even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
I love
you.
you
For being here.
Thank you for having me.
I will cast a spell, and we'll see you next time on the Passion Witch Project.